Hey, this is Brian with B-Dub Outdoors, and I'm coming to you today because I wanted to discuss a budget-friendly knife that you can use for all kinds of things, outdoor and bushcraft type use. So the knife is called the Mora Companion. So I've got it here, and I'm gonna tell you the things that I like about it. And you know, again, this is not paid for by Mora. This is just me talking about my experience with this knife. I bought one for myself and I bought one for my son. You can buy the Mora Companion. This is the stainless version. You can buy them on Amazon for like $17, give or take. It's not a lot. And I've really enjoyed the knife. It is my go-to knife now. One is, I didn't put a lot into it money-wise. I carry well, I don't always carry my sharpener with me, but I do have a little sharpener that I keep touching up on it in terms of, like, you know, if it dulls or anything like that. But basically, it's not a full tang knife to my knowledge, but the grip feels really well. The blade feels pretty solid. I've batoned when I'm, you know, cutting wood. You know, you place your wood here and you baton your knife through when you're splitting wood. I've done that with this knife. You can make bow drill sets, hand drill sets, just basic bushcraft stuff with this knife. And it's been a good little knife. And I bought it and have thoroughly enjoyed this knife. So if you're looking for, you know, a budget-friendly knife that I think that, you know, it's not a lot of risk in it because of the cost, this is a great knife. Also, I mean, I'm sure I've not used it for, actually I have. I can't remember if I used this to clean a deer or not. I can't remember. But either way, it would still work. No, it was my other knife. I have not used this to clean a deer. I have used it to skin fish. Some of my YouTube shorts that I recently posted, I had cooked some fish over the fire, cleaned the fish. I scaled the fish with the knife, and then I also cleaned them with the knife. But what I do is I sharpen my spine here. So when I want to scrape, like for example with this spindle, if I want to scrape wood with the back of my spine or create shavings, I will sharpen this. And the way I do that is I put it on a grinding wheel and I grind it to create a almost like a little lip that's on the side. Now, it's not sharp in terms of like cutting you, but it's got a definitive like 90 degree, and then there's a burr. It's actually like a little burr that I've used on a grinding wheel to create. So when you get it, it's not good with a ferro rod, but what you do is if you sharpen that spine, it'll do well with the ferro rod afterwards. I noticed that prior to sharpening that spine or creating that burr on that spine with the ferro rod, it was not, it did not do well with the ferro rod. So anyway, just a good little bushcraft knife. This is a stainless version. It's pretty solid little knife. And what I really love about it, I will be honest, is the case. It's a plastic case, yeah. But I like the fact that when I'm working with it, what I'll do, let me throw this on the ground here. I love the fact that when I'm working with this knife, like I can clip it on my shorts. I don't have to have a belt loop to actually carry this knife. I can clip it on my shorts. I can clip it on my belt if I want to. But when I work with this knife, boom, 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 and I'm done, I simply just drop it in the case and I'm done. I don't have to snap it in or anything like that. It's just convenient. And convenience is what I like about the Mora Companion. So again, this is not a paid ad. They don't have anything to do with this. This is just something that I like, and my friends will tell you, people consider me cheap at times, and that's okay. I consider myself frugal at times too, you know, but if you're looking for something on a budget and something that'll do well, I think the Mora Companion's great to look into. So again, $17, give or take, not much risk. So if you get it and hate it, well, give it to a friend, give it to somebody. I don't think you'll hate it though. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what this little knife can do for the money. So take a look at it. And right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create I'm gonna try to create, I'm gonna try to create an ember with, I'm gonna take my Mora and I'm gonna create from this hand drill set, and I'm gonna create an ember. Now the wind, it just got done raining, and the wind is kind of, I'm back here behind my shop, and hopefully it'll block a little bit of wind, because that wind is not good when you're trying to do hand drill at times. But I'm gonna try to create a little ember with this, and we'll see. Now, I will tell you, this is a dried kit, so it's not a kit that I just got outside. So just be aware that this is not something that I went and just found. So, but you know, if you think you're in primitive days, you know, primitive man, when they were using this stuff, just like a set of matches, you know, you're not gonna take your matches and leave them outside in the weather. You're gonna take them in, keep them dry, because when you need to build that fire again, you need to be able to have your go-to. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a divot here, and we're gonna burn it in, and then we will hopefully create an ember from here. So let me get this camera set. I'm gonna lower that camera, and I have this. I'm gonna spread out kind of a more dry area here. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to create a divot. I'm gonna use my Mora Companion. And I'm creating a divot by basically putting my knife in here, twisting it around, and cutting out a divot here that'll fit in my spindle. So I want it to fit in there snug. So I've got a little divot here. Let's see, that should work. That'll get it nested really well, and I'm going to go ahead and burn this in. Now, one thing I do is, I think this is called foxglove or false foxglove. I can't remember, I have to look it up again. This has got a sticky resin, and I like to use this for my hands, and sometimes I'll place it on my spindle. Another thing you can do when you do hand drill is you can actually use pine resin. That'll work well when you're doing hand drill. Hand drill is, with me, you know, I know when I post a video very often you'll see me, you know, getting the ember or whatever, but it's not like that every time. Every time I do hand drill, I don't get an ember. Sometimes I have to walk away and come back later, you know, and it really depends, especially, you know, you get something fresh outside, you're really gonna have an issue, you know what I mean? Depending on, like, if it's today, it'd be hard to get an ember from something you found today, just because of the weather that we just recently had. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a burn in. Now, one thing I'll tell you is doing a burn in is a lot easier when you have a spindle that you've already used. Also, when you have a fireboard that you've already used, because it's dry, you've used it, and the previous ashes, the previous, you know, you'll notice this black on the end here. That makes things easier when you're actually doing an ember. So it helps speed up the process. Got a little bit of smoke there. So again, I'm just creating an ember. I'm just creating a burn in. So now I've burned in my hole. Now I'm gonna cut a notch here. So let's take my Mora here, and I want to see if I can angle this camera. It's hard to do this with the angle of the camera. So I'm gonna basically a lot of times I'll put this on the ground, and let me see if I can do that. Let's see. Like, so I'll put this on the ground and I'm going to push in at an angle to create my notch, my V notch here. Now, some will tell you don't put your stuff on the ground, and that's true, especially the tip of your spindle. You definitely don't want to do that. But in this case, I think that end will probably be okay. So, there we go. I've created my notch here, as you can see. Now I'm gonna come on this back side, flip it around, and I'm actually going to flare out the bottom, and you'll see right here, I'm just gonna, notice I'm cutting, I have my angle here and here, and then I'm cutting this way and then this way from the bottom. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna flare it out here, do the same thing with this side. Okay, and I don't usually hold my knife like this when I'm cutting this. I'm just trying to make it where you guys can kind of see. So you see how I've kind of flared that bottom? That's how I do it. Now everybody, you know, I'm not a pro, I don't consider myself a pro at this. I do not. So I'm not claiming to be a pro at this. Everybody's got their ways of doing things, you know. So, you know, that's the biggest thing. Now I need to grab a leaf, something quickly to catch my ember, because I don't want to burn this, whatever this is called. I can't remember what it's called, shamad or something. I can't remember exactly what it's called. I'm not too concerned about it. All right, so got everything. We're going to try to do our ember here. So I'm just going to heat the board up. Let's see, maybe I need to get this shot a little bit easier for you guys. Let me do that. I'm gonna adjust my camera so you guys can see this a lot easier here. Let's see. Give me just a second. I don't want to turn my camera off. I need to be able to set this up here. Let's see. Maybe that's a little better. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better for you guys. All right, let's try this again. This is where I'm at here. So I'm not gonna take this into flames. I'm just doing an ember. And I like to do this to keep my practice up. And some days I'll go and challenge myself. If this is dry enough, I'll go challenge myself and go look for materials and everything like that and see if I can. And I've done that a few times where I've made fire directly from what I found out in the woods that day. But there's also been times where I have completely failed at this, making those attempts. And I experiment, which also leads to a lot of failures. So I'm just building up my dust here. Building up my dust. Now this is a mullein spindle, and this is a willow board here. Getting close. Let's see here. Still don't have a good strong ember. Now I'm gonna bear down real good. Well, I'm getting to the base of this one, and it's getting hard to turn it. So let's see. I might have something here. It's kind of smoking a little bit, but I just don't think that one made it there. And that is the frustrations of hand drill. So let's create another one. Now I see moisture in my leaf. That probably did not help the situation. I just got that leaf off the ground, so let's try this again. So again, you guys will see, this is the frustration of hand drill. Bow drill, you know, that one's a lot, I don't want to say easier, but it is. I mean, it has its own frustrations. You got to find materials, and you got to get more materials with bow drill. That's the aggravating with that. But it has its own frustrations, but you know. Let's try this one again. Here we go. Place this down. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and cut now. Now I've got a burn in here. All right, let's cut my notch. Now again, the frustrations with the hand drill, burning through your material, that sometimes is very frustrating because you get to the bottom of it and you can't spin your hand drill. You know? All right, so let's give that a go. I'm not gonna, well, I'll flare out a little bit, I guess. Might have cut my notch too long. So, all right, let's give it a go. Hopefully this one will work. This time, what I'm gonna do is I am going to get up here just like this. See, maybe this will work right here. Filling that dust up. Ton of smoke. And burn through it again. All right, let's keep going. This is the frustration of hand drills. So for all of you out there that are struggling, you know, I've done hand drill and I've got embers many times. There's a lot of humidity out here. I'm in South Carolina, a lot of humidity. Not near the mountains, near the coast more. Hour and a half from the coast. A lot of humidity and a lot of frustration. So again, frustrations of hand drill. A lot of smoke, you see that? A lot of smoke right there. Burning it well. They say where there's smoke, there's fire, but when it comes to hand drill, that's not always the case. So, marking that out. I'm not going to go quite as deep on my divot here. Went a little too far a while ago. Let me flare out the base here. Okay. All right, let's do this again. Here we go. Hoping I'll get an ember from this. Oh, I got an ember from this one yesterday, this kit. Yeah, I got a feeling about this one. This one's doing much better. You can already see the smoke forming within the dust there. Come on. That. It's there. then it goes away. A lot of humidity out. It's right there. I don't know. It's all over. But this has not formed. That ember has not formed. So it's got to be humidity. The only thing I can think. But then again, you know, I did it yesterday and the humidity was pretty high. So all right, once again, number 4. Number 4, this kit will make an ember. This kit will make an ember. So don't ever, like if you're struggling with hand drill, look at there. Everything went wrong. Look at that. That just, again, once again, broke off. So this is whenever the going gets tough. This is the time where do you keep going or do you quit? Do you come back later? And it just goes to show you that there's some good days and there's some bad days when it comes to this. And again, I'm using a kit that I know works. All right, got that. Now let's cut my notch. A lot of times when you see people do hand drill, you see that best cut, you see that best shot. I mean, I'm not always going to put the times I fell on there. I mean, that's just how it is. So, but what it does is those that are learning, it gets very frustrating because you see these people and they get it the first time every time. Now, there's probably a lot of people that do very, very, very well with that, and they might get it most of the time. Let's put it on I'm gonna put it on my sharpener this time instead of that leaf. Let's try something different, a drier surface. So, my hands are getting sweaty and slick. And there's times where you just gotta walk away and come back, but you can't quit. You can't just walk away and not come back. You got to keep trying. You know what I mean? Make sure your breathing's good. all that good stuff. My dust is not being very good right now. All right, so my dust pile's built up. I got decent smoke. I'm gonna sit here. My ring is getting caught on my spindle, so I'm gonna take that off and set it right here beside me. I'm gonna stay up here and float for just a little while. The thing about hand drill I've noticed too, when you start getting super deep with the drill, it gets harder and harder and harder to spin it. Full strokes. So I'm right there at an ember. I'm gonna just keep it hot for a minute by doing that floating technique. Keep everything super hot. It's hot. Just stay up here. Now I'm gonna spin it on down. There's an ember. Finally, I got an ember. So there it is. How crazy. It took me 4 tries, but I finally got an ember. And one of the differences was I switched up my surface that I was actually creating my ember on. So there you go. The frustrations of hand drill at its best. So there's my ember. And I am sweating like crazy. Well, I'm just sweating, not like crazy, I guess, but I am. But there's a perfect example. So I created an ember. It took me 4 tries. I was using a kit that I've created. It didn't take me this long yesterday when I was using the same kit. But the elements, I think, probably played a part. Yesterday when I did this, I was in my garage. So could be the fact that it had been raining. It rained yesterday evening pretty hard. And it could be humidity. It could be, it was humid yesterday. I don't know the exact thing. It could be in my surface that I was putting the ember on. Either way, you're going to have frustration. So people, who are learning, don't let it overwhelm you. Don't let it get to a place where, you give up. Just keep trying. Whatever you do, keep trying. And, eventually, when you get that first ember, you're going to be like, yes. And then you're going to have the motivation to keep moving. So whatever you do, just keep trying. And wish you the best. And God bless you. And no matter what you're dealing with in your life, give your struggles to Jesus. Because Jesus came, He died, and He rose from the grave, not only for our salvation, but for your healing. And may God bless you and your family. Thanks. Like and subscribe.